I want to tell you how 20,000 remarkable young people from over 100 countries ended up in Cuba and are transforming health in their communities. 90% of them would never have left home at all if it weren't for a scholarship to study medicine in Cuba and a commitment to go back to places like the ones they'd come from, remote farmlands, mountains, ghettos, to become doctors for people like themselves, to walk the walk. Havana's Latin American Medical School, it's the largest medical school in the world, graduating 23,000 young doctors since its first class of 2005, with nearly 10,000 more in the pipeline. Its mission? To train physicians for the people who need them the most, the over 1 billion who have never seen a doctor. The people who live and die under every poverty line ever invented. Its students defy all norms. They're the school's biggest risk and also its best bet. They're recruited from the poorest, most broken places on our planet by a school that believes they can become not just the good, but the excellent physicians their communities desperately need. That they will practice where most doctors don't, in places not only poor, but oftentimes dangerous, carrying venom antidotes in their backpacks or navigating neighborhoods riddled by drugs, gangs, and bullets. Their home ground. Where would they train? In Havana, the campus of a former naval academy was turned over to the Cuban Health Ministry to become the Latin American Medical School, ELAM. Tuition, room and board, and a small stipend were offered to hundreds of students from the countries hardest hit by the storms. As a journalist in Havana, I watched the first 97 Nicaraguans arrive in March 1999, settling into dorms barely refurbished and helping their professors not only sweep out the classrooms, but move in the desks and the chairs and the microscopes. Over the next few years, governments throughout the Americas requested scholarships for their own students, and the Congressional Black Caucus asked for and received hundreds of scholarships for young people from the USA. Today, among the 23,000 are graduates from 83 countries in the Americas, Africa, and Asia, and enrollment has grown to 123 nations. More than half the students are young women. They come from 100 ethnic groups, speak 50 different languages. WHO Director Margaret Chan said, "For once, if you are poor, female, or from an indigenous population, you have a distinct advantage, an ethic that makes this medical school unique." Many countries ask for these scholarships. First, they just don't have enough doctors. And where they do, their distribution is skewed against the poor, because our global health crisis is fed by a crisis in human resources. We are short 4 to 7 million health workers just to meet basic needs. And the problem is everywhere. Doctors are concentrated in the cities where only half the world's people live, and within cities, not in the shanty towns or South LA. Here in the United States, where we have healthcare reform, we don't have the professionals we need. By 2020, we will be short 45,000 primary care physicians. And we're also part of the problem. The United States is the #1 importer of doctors from developing countries. The second reason students flock to Cuba is the island's own health report card, relying on strong primary care. A commission from The Lancet rates Cuba among the best performing middle-income countries in health. Save the Children ranks Cuba the best country in Latin America to become a mother. Cuba has similar life expectancy and lower infant mortality than the United States, with fewer disparities. ELAM's graduates are smart, strong, and also dedicated. Haiti, January 2010. The pain? people buried under 30 million tons of rubble. Overwhelming. 340 Cuban doctors were already on the ground long term. More were on the way, many more were needed. At Elam, students worked round the clock to contact 2,000 graduates. As a result, hundreds arrived in Haiti, 27 countries worth, from Mali and the Sahara to St. Lucia, Bolivia, Chile, and the USA. They spoke easily to each other in Spanish and listened to their patients in Creole, thanks to Haitian medical students flown in from Elam in Cuba. First of all, in some countries, medical societies influence accreditation bodies not to honor the Elam degree, fearful these grads will take their jobs or reduce their patient loads and income. It's not a question of competencies. Here in the USA, the California Medical Board accredited the school after rigorous inspection, and the new physicians are making good on Cuba's big bet, passing their boards and accepted into highly respected residencies from New York to Chicago to New Mexico. 200 strong, they're coming back to the United States energized and also dissatisfied. As one grad put it, in Cuba, we're trained to provide quality care with minimal resources. So when I see all the resources we have here, and you tell me that's not possible, I know it's not true. Not only have I seen it work, I've done the work. An Elam graduate is more likely to be a she than a he. In the Amazon, Peru, or Guatemala, an indigenous doctor. In the USA, a doctor of color who speaks fluent Spanish. She is well-trained, can be counted on, and shares the faith and culture of her patients. And she deserves our support, surely, because whether by subway, mule, or canoe, she is teaching us to walk the walk.